The following program is a production of West Virginia Public Broadcasting.
Next, on Outlook, Upheaval, the story of the New River Gorge, Part 2, an examination of the history of the New River Gorge National River and the role of the National Park Service in preserving the New River Gorge's past while shaping its future. The story of the New River Gorge is one of ongoing upheaval, both natural and man-made. Geologists suggest that the gorge owes its existence to the swift eroding waters of the New River, coupled with the rise and fall of young and ancient rocks over hundreds of millions of years. Its unique nature makes the gorge ideal for the migration of rare species of plants and wildlife. With the advent of rail transportation, the region's abundant natural resources fueled the nation's industrial revolution. Today, more than 70,000 acres along the New River Gorge are preserved and protected by the National Park Service. That's about 56 miles of the historic scenic waterway between Hinton and Golly Bridge. Ranger Billy Strasser says the National Park Service also works to preserve the history here, stories which help Americans understand their common heritage and remember who they are as a people and a nation.
And so when you come to New River Gorge, you'll be hearing the stories of the Native Americans that lived here many centuries ago, the early settlers that came to this region, the coal miners that worked to get the coal out of this area, and up through the present day of people coming out to enjoy this place.
The main line is below this.
In the summer of 2009, the National Park Service hosted a guided tour of the remains of Nuttleberg along the New River in Fayette County. Suzanne Fisher, who grew up just 4 miles away in the community of Winona, says she's pleased with the National Park Service's efforts to preserve this once thriving coal community. While she's rafted the rapids just below, Fisher says she never actually visited the place where 3 generations of her family mined coal.
My mind is just going every which direction, and I can see them walking around here. My great-grandfather, my grandfather, and Daddy working here. And when you saw the tipple and all of that, you can just see that that's where they worked. That's where they were. You can picture them.
We had trees literally growing up through the middle of that. And
Richard Seegers is a historical architect with the National Park Service. He says John Nuttall, a Pennsylvania entrepreneur born in England, was among the first to capitalize upon the region's coal mining potential.
And he bought up over 200 acres of land in this area for $1 an acre. He opened up 2 coal mines. Everything was here and he was ready to go when the C&O came through in 1873. He was the second coal operator to ship coal from the New River coal fields.
The 26 coal companies in the New River Gorge employed newly arrived immigrants, white workers from neighboring states, and blacks migrating from the rural Southeast. Carter Godwin Woodson, now considered the father of Black History Month, spent 6 years mining and loading coal in Nuttleberg and nearby Kmore. Earning just pennies a ton, he saved enough to attend Douglas High School over 100 miles away in Cabell County. PBSDaaiyah Salaam, an oral historian with the National Park Service, says coal operators were known to deceive prospective miners from the South in order to secure dependable black workers for less money than that paid to white workers.
One of the things that the companies would do to entice African Americans to come is to pay their way from the South. But then when they get here, they'll take it out of their pay.
Newly arrived workers and their families found communities within communities with their own churches, schools, and shops.
If you was a foreigner, or if you was African American, you had to go to your own separate camps.
Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom.
Singer and actress Doris Fields grew up in a coal camp near the northern end of the New River Gorge. She says that despite the harsh realities of segregation and coal mining, thousands of African Americans poured into the region to carve out a better life for themselves. At an early age, Phil's father left Alabama with his family and soon found work carrying a canary whose death would signal the presence of poisonous methane.
When he went in the mines, when he was 11 years old, 10 years old, he stayed in the mines until he went in the military. When he came back, he went right back in the mines. And he always had a job. And through the Depression, he's always had a job.
Myron Wood lives atop the mountain overlooking Nuttleburg, where he once mined coal. He says that once he and the other workers entered the mine, color and race meant little.
You're so busy, I guess, trying to load coal, you didn't have time to get mad at anybody. It was a pretty rough life. Pretty rough life.
In the first decade of the 20th century, communities along the New River Gorge lost 357 men due to roof falls, fires, electrocutions, and other mining accidents. Daiyah Salaam says miners joked about eating the best tasting, least healthy part of their lunches first.
So if you had a piece of candy or if you had a dessert, you would eat that first in the coal mines because you didn't know if the roof was going to fall in.
In 1900, the flames of miners' lamps ignited methane gas, causing a massive explosion in the red ash mine near Thurmond. 46 men perished. In 1915, 114 miners and a grocery delivery man walking past the entrance died in an explosion at the Leyland mine near Quinemont.
They would have memorials for people that died. But within a few days after that, the people, the family members that were left, the wife and the little children, they would often be just tossed out of their house, the company house, because the man didn't work in the mine.